Give that thing a rev, man. What's up, weirdo? Shade Tree Surgeon here, and for once ever, Flip has a louder motorcycle than I do. Oh, take it easy. You're beeping your horn at this poor Sentra? Your motorcycle's not loud enough? You gotta beep at everybody too? Yeah, Flip, I know. It's called giving you a hard time. If you've been keeping up with my videos recently, you'll know that I've been putting caveats from my phone in them because I don't know when they're gonna come out. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it in person now. No, I'm not riding with a group today. I'm keeping Flip over here. We're connected on the Sennas, and we're headed out to Birch Harley Davidson. Again, practicing social distancing. We're doing the right thing. I hate that I have to say that. It just gets it gets old looking at all the comments saying I'm being a bad person. Well, let me tell you, since coronavirus has all the bars shut down and me and Flip are technically bartenders for a living, now that we can't go to the bar, we're technically YouTubers for a living. So we're actually doing our jobs right now. As of right now, Shade Tree Surgeon and Flipknot officially ride motorcycles for a living. So get off my case. You know, good and bad, you got to look at everything that's happening. And one of the good things, even though it's a very small good thing, if you're still working, I know a lot of you guys aren't, is there's about to be some amazing deals on motorcycles. So Birch called me up and said they're putting 300 motorcycles on wholesale and working in delivery costs. So you could buy this motorcycle from anywhere in the United States. I have no idea what they have up there. I don't know what the prices are, but something tells me they're gonna have some screaming deals. So we're headed up there to see, for those of you guys who are working through the coronavirus, and yes, we're actually working through it too since we're riding motorcycles and making YouTube videos. For those of you guys who are working, if you're in the market for it, you might be able to get a crazy deal on a motorcycle. Let's go see what they got. Up here at Birch, and they did not disappoint when it came to busting out some bikes that were really, really cheap. All the bikes that we're going to look at here today, well, most of them are under $3,000. One of them's above, but I'm going to start out with the cheapest one, and that one's $495. I had to have a price in the thumbnail because the first cheap bikes I did at Birch Harley Davidson, the cheapest one was $2,000. The second series was $1,000. So I told him, I was like, look, we got to have a bike that's like $500 because I can't put something higher, and it's this intruder right here, man. For $500, yeah, it runs and rides, but you can't expect much else. So it does have what looks like to be a belt to help hold the exhaust up. It's got a sweet chameleon paint job. Somebody very inexpertly spray painted all the calipers red. So somebody loved the bike, that's for sure. They were proud of it. They put a nice paint job on it and wanted to make it look nice, but its glory days are past. But for $495, for $500, it runs and it rides, and I'm about to prove it by riding it around. Do you remember what year this thing was? Never mind, it literally doesn't matter. It's $495. Really doesn't matter what year it is. It's a 2003? Okay, well, we got the year now. Dude, chameleon paint, exhaust held up with a belt. Dude, this bike is definitely what you call a mechanic special. But like I said, $495, it runs. Starts right up. The brakes work. Well, hopefully they work because I'm about to take this thing out on the freaking road. Bike number one in the 2020 coronavirus special. For $500, the bike ain't pretty, that's for sure. I don't know exactly what you're looking for $500. I don't know how far I trust this bike to drive. I mean, it's driving right now. It feels fine, but you know, it feels a little stuttery. But of course, I did just start it, so it could be still warming up. It is carbureted. It shakes, rattles, and rolls. That's for sure. But I don't know, man. See if we can get a wave back. Hell yeah, dude! Waving back to the chameleon paint intruder, baby. I just noticed that one of the bolts holding in the risers, holding in these handlebars, is just a regular bolt instead of an Allen. This like I said, I can't even see how many miles this bike has on it. It's definitely seen some use, but it runs. Well, fancy seeing you here on your fancy bike.
I feel like I'm in fucking Akira.
It's over here on the live wire. No cool sounds for him. We got the $500 special, and I think that the live wire is literally the most expensive bike that Harley Davidson makes. Ooh, that graceful U-turn. Yeah, I don't think we're keeping up with the live wire on the old anal intruder over here. For 500 bucks, what do you want, man? I mean, it runs, it rides. The first thing I would do if I was to buy this bike is immediately take it to a mechanic that I trusted, because the whole thing with mechanic, I would definitely need some new neck bearings. You can tell from that wobble right there. But the first thing I would do if I was buying this bike is immediately take it to a mechanic that knew what he was doing, or if you're a mechanic that knows what you're doing, and kind of go through it and see everything it needs. And it definitely would need a couple things. I can tell right off the bat, neck bearings. The carburetor, it's got a little pop in it, but it idles fine, and it seems to run fine. It might just need to warm up. Other than that, I mean, it shifts fine, even though it's got a little bit of stutter in the carburetor. Actually, it seems like it's kind of going away now. A little bit of pop on D-cell, but yeah, I would go through it and see everything it needs. But for $500, you're not going to get a bike that's absolutely perfect. The whole thing with the mechanic specials at Burke's is that they don't do anything with them. They just put them out on the lot and they sell them. So they're selling all these bikes. I've got 3 or 4 I'm testing today, but they're getting rid of all these bikes for next to nothing. I think basically they're selling them for exactly what they paid somebody for them. So I don't know. There you go. It's running. It's idling. It goes. It stops. What do you want? It's 500 bucks. Next motorcycle, the Honda VTX 1300. And we are quadrupling the price of the last bike, all the way up to $1,995, $1,995 for this VTX 1300 with a, I've never even seen a VTX 1300 with a 2-into-1 pipe like that. It's a Dan Moto pipe. But it's got bags. I don't know, man. I love VTXs, and you know, obviously the 1800 is the really fast one, but the 1300s ain't no slouch either. What's cool about the 1300s is they're a really, really good sounding bike. That's one of the things that people loved about them, is these bikes with exhaust, in a lot of people's opinions, are some of the best sounding metric V-twins ever. And of course, it's a Honda. This thing, the Hondas just run for frickin' ever, and the VTX 1300s and 1800s are known for taking heaps and heaps and heaps of abuse, and they just keep on ticking. So let's go ahead and give this thing a whirl and see what it's all about for two G's, 2,000 bucks. Bags and everything. Bags, exhaust, Honda V-twin. Let's see how she goes. How many miles we got on this baby here? 40,000 miles. I don't know, man. It's a Honda. They run forever. I didn't test this one at all. Okay, brakes feel like they, I don't know. I mean, like I said, they don't go through these things. That's why they're mechanic specials. I've never actually ridden a VTX before. I've always admired them. I've always kind of liked them, but this is my first time on one. This is actually really comfortable. I actually really like this. Okay, yes, the brakes work, thankfully. Throttle works too. Yeah, that is a good sounding bike. Like I said, specifically the 1300s. Oh, we got some highway pegs. Well, that's nice. The old gynecologist chair position right there. I don't know if Honda, I don't think Honda makes the VTX anymore, but I don't know why. If they did stop, I don't know why. I mean, you see these things all over the place. Of course, I can't think VTX without thinking of my man Harmon, Moto Maverick on Instagram with his VTX 1800. Of course, this is just a 1300, but it's still a really, really cool motorcycle. For 2,000 bucks, 1,900 bucks, come on, man. Like I said, look, here we are, running, riding, moving down the road. Oh, Man, I just broke that rear tire loose. Man, VTX has got balls, baby. Oh, I like it. This one's set up for touring too, with all the bags and everything. I don't want to stop. I'm actually really digging this. This bike is super, super comfortable. I mean, if this was mine, I'd probably take off all those lights on the front, and maybe a mirror, kind of strip it down a little bit. Maybe, even though these highway pegs are super comfortable, I'd probably take off the crash bar and the highway pegs and just gonna kind of make it like a stripped down bike. But that's just if I had it, man. Maybe you're looking for a bike that you can tour on. So it's already got the bags and the highway pegs and the lights and everything. You're basically a windshield away from having a nice light cruiser. I bet there's a lot of people who are watching this video right now who actually own a VTX 1300. I know that because I've seen a lot of people in the comments mention that they own VTXs because they're amazing bikes and you can usually pick them up for pretty cheap. Like I said, this one's got 40,000 miles on it and it's $2,000. It ain't gonna set any land speed records, but it can get out of its own way, that's for sure. Dude, I don't know, man, with these ape hangers and this big seat and these, I feel like kind of like a badass on this thing. I'm not gonna lie, dude. This is like the seating position with these ape hangers on this bike is absolutely perfect for me anyway. Like if I was gonna have, okay, I'm just so you guys know, I'm about 6'1". If I was gonna have the perfect seating position, I'm pretty much in it right now. This is phenomenal. I love it. Dude, I don't know. I like this. This is not a bad motorcycle. Now for 2Gs, I'm actually really digging this. It's comfortable. It's got power. It sounds really good. This is definitely my style. Ooh, I think I'm just about to run out of gas. So good thing I'm pulling back into Bert's Harley Davidson right now. And hopefully it doesn't make me push it back. I would tell you, you know, if you don't have a lot of money for $500, that Vulcan is pretty freaking cool. Or sorry, Intruder. For my money at least, if it was between these two bikes, I would probably go with this VTX because that was a really nice motorcycle for $2,000. So we did two metric bikes, the Suzuki Intruder for $500 and the Honda VTX 1300 for $2,000. You know, last time I did just metric, the time before that I did just Harleys. I'm going to go ahead and split it up this time. Two metrics, let's do two Harleys. Now between the two metrics, I said, you know, even for the extra money, I would probably go spend the $2,000 on this VTX 1300 instead of the $500 on that Intruder. But for my money spent today, if I was going to buy a cheap bike today, it would probably be this Electra Glide Classic right here. You know why? Because you look at this thing, it's a great looking bike. It's got the whole tour pack on it. And it's kind of hard to tell the different years between these things. This is actually a 99, but if you ask me, this is a great looking bike. It's in great shape for 1999. You can tell it's a 99 because it's got a tape deck in there. This bike is $3,000. Maybe you didn't hear me right. I actually couldn't believe it when they told me. I had my man Gunner check it twice. They are asking $3,000 for this bike. Another cool thing about this bike, let me tell you, is it's actually got some history on the Shade Tree Surgeon channel because this is my friend Stoney's bike that he traded in on a newer motorcycle. Stoney's been on the channel a couple times, him and his wife, but yep, he traded in this bike at Bert's for a new motorcycle. And like I said, for $3,000, give me a break, man. This bike is great. Oh, sounds good too, man. Here comes Flip again. Again, you can't expect a bike like this to be perfect. It does have, let's see here. For 67,000 miles, you definitely can't expect the bike to be perfect. But, I don't know, man. Here I am, once again. I always say the same thing, but it always seems to me like that's one of the most important distinctions is for $3,000... Now, that is a good sounding engine. I just had to shut up there for a second. This bike sounds great, man. And for $3,000, here you go, man. You're on an Electroglide, man. Full dresser, full touring package. Let me get my mirrors adjusted here so I can see what's behind me. Full dresser, man, with the highway pegs too, with the gynecological exam highway pegs here. What do you want? 3,000 bucks. You got bags, you got a top box, you got the full fairing, you got a tape deck. I'll have to ask Stoney. I don't think it works, unfortunately. But, you know, for $3,000, I don't know if you can be mad about your tape deck not working. I forgot about these old school, these leather cover freaking glove boxes here. That's slick, man. They used to make some of these for the FXR too, although I doubt I'll be able to get a hold of any. I rolled the dice on this one. The needle was buried at E, but I was hoping I had at least a mile in it. I hope I don't get disappointed. This is a nice bike, but it's still an electric glide. I definitely don't want to have to push it back to Bert's. It would take me a long time to get tired of that sound. It's actually comfortable. I'll tell you, from some of the newer ones, the newer street glides and road glides, you actually have a much more upright seating position on this thing. Personally, I actually prefer that because I've got some sciatic nerve pain that bothers me, and an upright seating position for me is actually a lot more comfortable than like some of the newer ones you kind of sit in, which is technically more comfortable, like more like lazy boy style, but I like to be kind of perched on top of the bike, if you know what I mean. What do you want? This is a great looking bike that runs, rides, stops, has luggage. It sounds great. Again, like I said, for my money, if I was buying a bike today, this would probably be the one that I bought. I mean, this bike new was a very, very expensive motorcycle, that's for sure, because it's the Electroglide Classic, man. This is the one with all the bells and whistles back in '99. The cool thing about twin cams too, like this bike has, is dude, you can get just about every part in the world just cheap as freaking dirt for a twin cam. So you could rebuild this whole engine. I don't want to just say a number off the top of my head because I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I know that parts are cheap for them. I bet you could rebuild this whole engine for under $1,000. There you go, man. Stoney's Electroglide, 3,000 bucks. It's your Electroglide. Like I said, they're shipping too. So if you're in another state and you see this, and again, don't think just because I rode this bike around, don't think that they're absolutely perfect or that there's nothing wrong with them. These bikes aren't perfect. That's why it's $3,000. But they will ship this out of state. If you live somewhere else and you're confident in this motorcycle, they'll drop it off at your doorstep if you want. Okay, this one is a little more expensive. This one is actually $6,900. But if you guys have watched my channel, you'll know that I am a huge Terminator 2 fan. It's one of the movies that made me want to ride motorcycles. And so I can't say no to a fat boy. I freaking love fat boys. And again, like I said, T2. There's so many people out there that this is just such an iconic. I'd lose the windshield personally because, yeah, that's what makes it a fat boy, you know. I'd lose the windshield, but again, $6,900. It's got 64,000 miles on it. I think this is like an 05 or 06 or something. I'm like running off with the freaking price, the price sheet on it. Oh yeah, there will always be something I absolutely love about the Fat Boy. And anybody who grew up on Terminator and saw Arnold Schwarzenegger flying into the LA River and chasing down that semi and John Connor on a Fat Boy is always gonna have a soft spot for a Fat Boy. Yeah, $6,900. It's definitely not free. It's for what I'm trying to show today, it's definitely on the pricier side. Part of what I like to show with these videos is motorcycles that are affordable. You know, I like showing motorcycles that, you know, a lot of people, they ride these big $20,000, $30,000 motorcycles in their YouTube videos. And when that's fun. When I go to the dealership, I like to find the cheapest bikes that they have because those are the bikes that are more realistic for someone like the people who are watching my videos, maybe somebody who's just in the market for their very first bike or getting back into it after years, they're not looking for a bike that costs 20 grand. They're looking for a bike that costs a few $1,000s. Or, you know, maybe you've got a few more bucks and you're looking for a bike that costs $7,000 and you're a big Terminator 2 fan like I am. I don't know if this would be the best beginner bike, but if you got some, used to have some experience back in the day, maybe this would be a good bike to get back into motorcycles with. All right. Let me park this thing. Stop living out my freaking 9-year-old fantasies on a fat boy. Oh, 9-year-old fantasies on a fat boy. That doesn't exactly sound right. Well, that's gonna about do it for this video as Gunner rides off on the live wire silently behind me. There's a reason I make these videos, and one of the reasons is, as I just said, I want people to know that you don't have to be rich to buy a motorcycle. You can come up here and you can get a Harley Davidson bagger for $3,000. You can get a VTX for 2 grand. You can get that intruder for 500 bucks. There are deals to be had. You don't have to buy a brand new motorcycle. And even when you go to a dealer, even a Harley dealer, you don't have to buy a brand new bike. It's affordable. Now, I know right now is not exactly the best time for a lot of people to buy a bike, but if you've been looking for a deal and you're still working, there are deals out there right now. So also let me say this, because last time I made one of these videos, you guys were like, well, the prices online are different. Yes, they're different. You have to say that you saw this bike in the Shade Tree Surgeon video in order to get the price. They give me special prices to offer you guys. So make sure you said, I saw this in the Shade Tree Surgeon video, and you'll get the special price, because yes, it's different online. Till next time, I hope you guys are practicing social distancing. I hope everybody's staying safe. I hope you're especially staying safe if you're out there and you're still working and you're in gas stations or you're driving a truck or you're a medical worker. Please stay safe. I love you guys, and I'll keep on making these videos as long as I can. Technically, I'm still allowed out. I can still make them right now. We're practicing social distancing, but eventually I'm not going to be able to make these things anymore, because I think eventually we're going to get stuck inside the house. But till next time, y'all, keep it weird.